Aloha Pumehanakako. The February 7th, 2024 Neighborhood Board number 34 meeting is called to order. This special meeting is the rescheduled January 24th regular meeting that was unfortunately canceled due to technical difficulties. And we worked it out. So welcome to our MakakiloKapoleiHonokai Hale Community Forum. My name is Anthony Makana Paris, and I serve as your board chair. We are holding a hybrid meeting located in person at Kapolei Hale, conference rooms A and B, and online via WebEx. Order and decorum. If you wish to speak, please raise your virtual hand or hand in person and wait for the presiding officer to recognize you before speaking. Introduce yourself and only address comments to the chair. If I miss any hands in person or online, our trusty neighborhood board assistant will get my attention and help you all out. Speakers have 3 minutes to speak and comment on any item. Those giving reports tonight may take up to 10 minutes for the presentations. Honolulu Fire Department has been granted a dispensation for a longer presentation this evening, so they'll have more time. Also, please remember to silence any electronic devices and keep yourself on mute when on WebEx, when you're not talking. Please remember again to state your name for the record before you share any mana'o. This is our community forum, so everyone is asked to engage with the spirit of aloha. Be free to vigorously debate the agenda items. Remember to treat each other with respect, especially when you're passionately advocating and on opposite sides, seemingly. And let's honor each other by keeping to the allotted times for speaking and collectively finish on time. Are there any questions before we start the formal portion of the agenda? Seeing none, and we note welcome to our fellow neighborhood board member, getting us one step closer to quorum. So with that, let's start with the roll call, please.
Bosler, Dudley, Herrera, Hale,
Heyo.
Khan, Lidstone,
Hale.
Singleton, Ta'ala, Paris.
Yeah.
We have four members present right now, Chair. We do not have quorum at this time.
Okay. Thank you. So we will definitely are able to go forward with our presentations and reports, and hopefully we'll have quorum by the time we get to action items. So let's start going with our city monthly reports, starting with Honolulu Fire Department.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Captain Edward Lee with the Honolulu Fire Department. Let's start off with the incident statistics for the month of January, this past January. So first of all, fires. We had a total of 2 structure fires in January, 4 wildland or brush fires, 8 nuisance fires. The nuisance fires include rubbish fires outside a structure or vehicle. We had 1 cooking fire and 18 activated fire alarms with no fire. For our emergency statistics, we had 182 medical calls. We had 0 motor vehicle collisions involving pedestrians. We had 7 motor vehicle collisions or crashes, incidents, 0 mountain rescues, 0 ocean rescues, 1 hazardous materials incident. Our fire safety tip for this month is don't stall, call 911, which means call 911 right away when there's an emergency. Once the operator is on the line, please speak clearly and provide an accurate description of the type of emergency and the location. First thing is to remain calm. The operator may ask for additional information or provide instructions. 2, if you find yourself in a spot where you do not have good reception for voice communication, that's either, example, in an elevator or while hiking, you can text your emergency to 911. And lastly, if you don't know the passcode to unlock a cell phone, you can push the emergency button to unlock it and call 911. That is all I have for this month. Is there any questions?
Any questions? Okay. Any questions from fellow board members? Any questions from the community at large? Seeing and hearing none, thank you very much for the report.
You're welcome.
Okay. Now let's go on to Honolulu Police Department.
Aloha Board Chair members and community. Sergeant Moroko with HPD District 8 Community Policing Team. This is the crime stats for January of 2024. For the month of January, in the district, we had motor vehicle thefts, number 40. In our area, 12. Burglaries, there were 24 in the district. In our area, there were 10. Thefts, 160, 61 in our area. 43 unauthorized entry into motor vehicles, 8 in our area. 356 total citations issued. Calls for service, 6,589 in the district, of which 2,043 were in our area. That's the crime stats for January. If you have any questions for HPD, I can try and answer them now.
Any questions from fellow board members? Chair recognizes Board Member Matthew Kahn.
Hello, hi. I live in the Mehana section of Kapolei. There are a few burglaries and thefts and car break-ins in that general area. And my question is, and I guess this applies to all of Kapolei and Makakilo, was there any arrests made for thefts, burglaries, break-ins? And if so, is it repeat offenders? Or is it, is there some sort of pattern where it could probably be homeless, houseless persons?
Okay, thank you for that question. I'm sure there were arrests, but I'd have to do a little research to address those specific questions. If you want, I can research that and bring that to the next board meeting.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes Board Member Hale.
Thank you, Sergeant, for a thorough report, and thank your team, your staff for hard work done over the year. But I got a question. How is your employment status right now? Because for a while, you guys were short. Are you guys kind of increasing? You guys recruiting? How's the recruiting going, sir?
Okay. Yeah. So as far as I know, the situation really hasn't changed. Recruitment is still a challenge, but the department is starting a more vigorous recruiting methods and started the cadet program again, where officers or candidates who apply for the PSO position, which is police services officer position. This is prior to them getting into the academy. If they are accepted, then they're actually paid to do police services, nothing enforcement wise, but they would be sent out to the districts to get familiar with police work, and they would get paid in the meantime. I think 60,000 plus a year, and that would help them actually get into the academy. So that program is still in the works, but it should be starting. I think they have candidates already hired to do that, and they'll be going out to the patrol districts and getting familiar with police work. That's what they're doing right now to try and increase recruitment. But as far as the numbers, it is still challenging. We're still short of 400 at this time with all the retirements, and there's some that go on to moving to the mainland for higher pay and things like that. So it's still challenging, but the department is still working on trying to increase how attractive it is to get into the Honolulu Police Department. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for supporting us.
Thank you, Board Member Moon Kahele. Are there any other questions from fellow board members? Any questions from the community at large? Seeing none, thank you so much for your report and your good work, even though your numbers are still down. Praying for the
Happy New
best.
Year. Thanks for having us.
Happy New Year. Okay, now let's go to Board of Water Supply, please. There in person. No problem. Welcome.
You guys are so cool here. Thank you. Aloha, Chair, Board, residents, and guests. Nicole Rodwell with Board of Water Supply. Nothing too much this month or last month, I guess. There were no water main breaks in December. Actually, there were none for January either. Our announcement for this month is our $100 toilet rebate. It's a limited time, 90-day period through April 18th. We're providing an offer of a $100 rebate on our WaterSense labeled toilets. So that's 1.2 gallons per flush or less. That's double our usual rebate amount of $50. And it's limited to four toilets per household and 10 for commercial customers. So any questions on that, you can go to boardofwatersupply.com/rebates. And with that, I'm happy to take back any questions or concerns that you folks might have.
Board members, Vice Chair Dr. Keone Dudley.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm noticing coming down Makakilo Drive and going up Makakilo Drive, it's really bumpy. And it's probably tree roots an awful lot, but I do think that some is water caused. And I just wonder if somebody could take a ride up and down the road and see how much is caused by possible water and how much is on.
Have you noticed any ponding or anything of water?
No, but where they were doing repairs is kind of where the problem is.
Okay.
And maybe the water is still leaking or I just don't know.
Okay. That was part of the water system improvements. Yeah, we'll check that out for you.
Awesome. Chair recognizes Board Member Moon Kahele.
Thank you for your report, Nikki, and welcome to tonight's meeting. What's the water level in Palehua? And what's the water level in Waikane Valley? And the reason why I'm saying we get all this growth in communities, homes and commercials right down the road, water got to come from somewhere. And I'm curious because, we have other issues that we're dealing with. So how's it looking? We're looking good or we?
I don't know the exact water level amounts, but I can check on that and get back to you.
All right. Thank you.
Nikki, this is the month of the increase, yeah? Is this where the?
Yes.
Any other questions from fellow board members? Any other questions from the community at large? I'm seeing none. If you could follow up for us to see if there's anything you can tell us as you negotiate with the federal government, Department of Defense and the Navy, and specifically on reimbursements for incurred costs to ratepayers on the island of Oahu, that would be greatly appreciated, as we have a standing agreement to meet with the Joint Task Force Red Hill in the near future to raise concerns as well. So any report back of where things are that you can publicly let us know, that'd be greatly appreciated.
I'll do. There's some people at the open house tonight, so. I know.
Awesome. Okay, hearing nothing else, let's go to the next report. Thank you so much for being here with us. Let's go now to the mayor's office.
Hello. Hi. Can you hear me?
Hey, aloha. Yeah.
Aloha. I feel like I haven't seen everyone for a while. Aloha board members. I'm sorry I missed the December neighborhood board meeting. As it was rescheduled, I was scheduled to be Santa at Honolulu Hale that night, which is the reason I couldn't make the December meeting. But glad to be back. As far as announcements, I have one really personally exciting news, and that is that the Honolulu Zoo has been nominated as one of the top 20 zoos in the United States. And a voting is currently going on to I guess the reason that I'm personally excited is I used to be on the Honolulu Zoological Society board before, so the zoo has a warm place in my heart. And voting is currently going on for the until March 4th. You can vote once a day. It's really easy. I've been voting. It's just one click and then you're done. The cities that get the most votes are going to go into the top 10. I think we were number 9 a few days ago, but because the city has really kicked up its efforts to get everybody involved, we are now currently, or at least as of this morning, we were number 4 best zoos in the nation. So I ask everyone, if you can, please click once a day to vote for the Honolulu Zoo. Um, Besides that, my homework, um, I will report the Skyline ridership data for both December and January. December, we had 85,460 riders in the month of December. And January's numbers were just made available to me this morning, and it's 91,634 riders. Insofar as the homework that I received as a result of, I guess, the December meeting, the first one deals with the Kapolei Parkway extension. Where is and the question was, where's the funding for the paving of this extension to Ko'olina coming from? There is already an entrance to Ko'olina, and member Ferreira believes that the Makakilo extension should be in line first. Why is the Makakilo extension being put behind the Ko'olina extension paving? And I reached out to the DTS, Department of Transportation Services. And the answer that I got from them is the city has no current project or budget, funding, plans, or design in place for the extension of the Kapolei Parkway between its current westbound terminus near Kapolei Commons and Ko'olina. While long-range master plans do provide for it, any road extensions would occur on privately owned property and which have to be conveyed to the city. And so it's still quite a ways away. The second question that I was assigned is with respect to the Haiku Stairs ownership. Resident Thad Sprague requested that someone from the city speak on the plan to transfer the Haiku Stairs to Kualoa Ranch to be installed there. Sprague was made to believe that taxpayers will be asked to spend over $4 million to remove the stairs to the benefit of Kualoa Ranch without public disclosure under Hawaii environmental law. I reached out to DDC, which is the department that's in charge of the dismantling of the Haiku Stairs. And their report, by the way, actually, their report to me was very much in line with the article that ran this morning. So I apologize if I'm just sort of regurgitating what people already read in the paper this morning about the haiku stairs. But for those who did not, the response that I got from DDC is that this demolition project will use city funds, but as stated in the project specs, materials to be removed from the site become the property of the contractor. Essentially, this means that the contractor is responsible for all relocation and/or disposal costs. Once the materials are removed from the site, the city is not paying for any additional disposal, recycling, relocation, reuse, or reassembly, etc. For my information, based on the last conversation I had with the contractor earlier this week, but this was, I had reached out in January, in the middle of January, so the information might be a little dated, but based on his last conversation with the contractor, they don't have any type of contract or agreement with Kolau Ranch. And according to this morning's paper, that is still the situation. The third question was a DTS update for the Citizen Advisory Committee, CAC, for the Oahu Metropolitan Planning Organization, OMPO. Can DTS provide an update to the CAC for OMPO during their January and future meetings, similar to what HDOT provides? And DTS responded, DTS will schedule an update to the CAC for OMPO. The last request is with respect to the increase of shopping carts homeless near Palailai Solar, Lower Makakilo, Kahivelo Neighborhood Park. Resident Soona raised a concern about homeless individuals entering Palailai Solar from Makakilo Drive. Individuals also had shopping carts around Kahivelo Neighborhood Park. There has been an increase in this activity recently. What can be done about it? The response from HPD is that on December 28th, 2023, District 8's KapoleiHonokai community policing team made checks to these areas and did not observe any shopping carts. They also did not observe any illegal activities at Palailai Solar. Officers will monitor the areas and as time permits and take enforcement action as needed. That is my report. I'd be happy to try to take back or answer any questions that you may have.
Mahalo, Deputy Director Suzuka, for the report and doing that fabulous job on your homework, even though it was the winter break. And now let's go to any questions or comments from fellow board members. Chair recognizes Vice Chair Keone Dudley.
First of all, I'd like to just say that that was really a fine report. We've never had somebody from the city who did as much work as you do. So
Thank you.
Thank you. Let me ask though about Makakilo Drive.
Yes.
Makakilo Drive is really getting bumpy and just great big bumps going across the road. And it's amazing how fast more and more seem to be appearing. And I would say that you probably hit 10 to 15 bumps going up and 10 to 15 bumps coming down. So if somebody in the city could take a look at that, it's probably a lot tree roots that are growing up and causing that. That's the usual problem. But it's getting to be really something.
Sure. We'll take a. I'll definitely. We will definitely contact DTS and have them take a look at the situation.
Thank you.
Any other questions or mana'o from fellow board members? Any questions or mana'o from the community at large? Seeing none, thank you so much. Appreciate on your follow-up.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Okay. Now we go to Councilmember Andrea Tupola. Is she your representative from our office with us this evening? Okay, so now I'm hearing none. Let's go to Uncle Frank Canario with our OMPO report as our OMPO representative for our board. Is he available?
Yes, Mr. Chair, you have my written report for both January and February, and I'll cover only today's meeting of the Citizen Advisory Committee. Executive Director Mark Garrity reported that the new chair of the OMPO Policy Board is State Representative Darius Keela, whose district includes Honokai Hale, and the vice chair is City Councilwoman Val Okamoto. A presentation on the Department of Transportation Services by Chris Clark started with a short video on services and rail, bus, pedestrian, and bicycle connections. DTS has 177 employees, another 2,000 people work for the bus, and Hitachi has 250 rail-related positions. Skyline's current budget is $400 million for operations and $150 million for capital development. A new dedicated bus lane will be on Kuhio Avenue. Mr. Clark noted that such lanes cut bus travel time by 14%, but increase other vehicle travel time by 7%. There are now 17 electric buses in the fleet, which is planned to be all electric by 2040. DTS has a goal to connect all existing bikeways on the south trails of the island and is now adding a bikeway on North King Street from Evelay to Middle Street. In the Q&A section, CAC members brought up the need for roads and bridges maintenance in some areas, and Mr. Clark said that maintenance is a priority and DTS is preserving road rights of way and has access to federal funds for bridge maintenance. He also mentioned bikeway access to rail stations, important because rail moves many more people than other movers per space used. And he added that rail would work very well in Waikiki. As you know, there's no plan for it yet. CAC members Daisy Marai and Lynn Mariano suggested that Kuhio be changed to a one-way artery because of likely congestion due to the bus lane. A guest, Laura Ruby, stated that Alawai area residents prefer a low, modest bridge over the canal and want to see a full environmental impact statement on the proposed new pedestrian and bikeway bridge. Mr. Clark stated that there were several public meetings and an EIS cannot be developed because it is a federal undertaking. The federal fiscal years 2022 to 2025 Transportation Improvement Program was again covered by OMPO's Dallas Ige, who said that TIP Revision 17 is consistent with the Oahu Regional Transportation Plan and should be approved by the CAC to the Policy Board. I again oppose the revision because it does not include the Makakilo Drive extension, but it passed 13-1 with 2 abstentions. Perhaps Representative Keela would help us with the extension from his new position as Policy Board Chair by recommending the project to the next board meeting on 27 February. I'm standing by to help him with a history of the project if he wishes. Mahalo.
Well, Uncle Frank, for the thorough report. Are there any questions from fellow board members? Questions from the community at large? Hearing none, keep on doing the good work for Makakilo Drive extension and our other projects of interest. Okay, with that, let's circle back for city reports. We did allow for the Honolulu Fire Department to do a special report on this evening. Are they available at this time?
Hey, Matthew, we're not able to hear you right now. It says that you're unmuted, but we're not picking up any microphone input from you.
Is he saying?
Yeah, he is trying to talk. Yeah, Matthew, if you're there, I would just say make sure your microphone is plugged in to your device. We're not picking up any microphone input at this time. Yeah. Come back later.
Okay.
Or yeah, still not able to hear you, Matthew.
No problem. How about you try and work on your audio concerns offline, and we'll go to the next presentation, and then we'll come back. With that, at this time, we're going to presentations. This evening, we have two, although the Red Hill Joint Task Force, Red Hill representatives are not available this evening due to a scheduling conflict because they have open house. So when we coordinated, everybody could agree, and then finally they told us that they weren't able to attend. So we'll try to get them on a future agenda. With that, we go for the Prince Kuhio Parade presentation with Association of Hawaiian Civic Clubs, Halikikena Dre Kalimi.
Aloha, thank you, Chair Paris. Basically, we're just coming to the neighborhood board this evening to make sure everyone is aware that we are hosting the Prince Kuhio Parade. The Association of Hawaiian Civic Clubs is the lead and coordinator for the parade this year. Last year, that role was held by the Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement, but the parade is scheduled for Saturday, March 16th. We'll have the same route that it did last year, so it will start and our staging will be at Hale, and the route will continue along Kapolei Parkway and will conclude at Kamakana'ali'i. The step off for the parade will be at 5 p.m. and there will be an event at the mall at the conclusion of the parade. So we invite all members of the community to participate. I'm going to put the application form link in the chat, just so if anyone, board members or members of the public or anyone here on the meeting is interested in participating, we welcome everyone to have a unit in our parade. I just want to say a few things about the background for the parade. We do honor Prince Jonah Kuhio Kalanianaole as not just the founder of the Hawaiian Civic Club movement, but also as a statesman and an ali'i. He, during his tenure in Congress from 1903 until 1922, was able to do quite a bit for Hawaii, and the legacy of his work back then is still very much alive and well in Hawaii today. We most often will point to his legacy for his work in establishing the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act and the program that we know today as administered by the Department of Hawaiian Homelands, but he also did quite a bit more. He is responsible for establishing in a permanent fashion the county system as we know it today. He was also very instrumental in bringing home federal resources for critical infrastructure that we use on a daily basis, including Kalanianaole Highway on this island, as well as Kuhio Highway on Kauai. He was instrumental in getting funding to develop and dredge Honolulu Harbor and develop Hilo Harbor. And also he was responsible for establishing national parks here in our islands. So for these reasons and many others, we honor him during the month of his birth. His birthday is March 26th, and we will honor him in Kapolei with the parade on March 16th. That's really all I have to present, and just want to see if any members of the board have questions.
Mahalo for your presentation. Are there any questions about the parade for President Dre Kalili from fellow board members? Chair recognizes Board Member Michaela Lindstone.
I'd just like to say, Prince Kuhio was also a master at really building pilina and relationships with people. And he was really successful because of the way that he was able to build relationships. And this is a great parade. I went to the parade last year. I don't know if anyone else went. But I encourage all of our kaiaulu, all of our community to come in the spirit of pilina and building relationships with our neighbors and with our community in the spirit of Kuhio. And I mahalo to our legislators who are honoring Kuhio in the legislation. that they are putting out for him. So mahalo for that as well.
Thank you, Board Member Lindstone. Any other questions or comments from fellow board members? Any questions or comments from the community at large? Seeing none, I think it would be appropriate if the board would take an action to support the 2024 Prince Kuhio Parade.
Second.
It's been moved by Dr. Keone Dudley and second by Board Member Michaela Lindstone to support the upcoming 2024 Prince Kuhio Parade. Is there any testimony before the board? Any discussion? Fellow board members seeing no testimony? Okay, hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say ole. Any abstentions by the same sign? Hearing none, chair calls it unanimous. We are supporting Prince Kuhio Parade 2024, second time in Kapolei.
Mahalo, Dre.
Mahalo.
Thank you very much. Aloha.
Stay around, Dre, because at this time, I would like to ask the board to take business item 7B, the letter of support for federal grant funding request for Kalailoa Barbers Point Harbor, out of order, because the gentlewoman before us is not just the president of the Association of Hawaiian Civic Clubs, but also the deputy director for the State Department of Transportation, and she is currently on the East Coast wanting to go to sleep. So if there's no objections from the board, I would like to take that one item out of order now so that we can dispense with the business and then move forward with the rest of the presentations. Is there any objections to the taking business item 7B, letter of support for federal grant funding request for Kalailoa Barbers Point Harbor out of order at this time? Hearing none, we are now moving to that point in the agenda. And Dre, you're on again.
Thank you so much. And thank you again for indulging my request to move up in the agenda. It's almost 2 a.m, so thank you very much. So I am the Deputy Director of Transportation for our harbor operations. And in your district is the Kalailoa Barbers Point Harbor. We're in the process of preparing a federal grant funding request for about $20 million to build a connector road from an area where there's currently no roadway directly into the port. For context, and I apologize, I did create a map for the January 24th meeting and provided it in person, but I don't have the graphic to share on screen this evening. But if I can describe what that graphic depicts, there is currently work underway that's being handled by my highways counterparts at the Kapolei Interchange Complex, Mauka. And then Campbell Estate, Kapolei Development Company, is responsible for building a connector roadway from the interchange down toward the harbor. And then a second project, which is from the end of that roadway directly into the harbor. And the reason that that's important is because we're looking at creating a very direct roadway for the trucks that move cargo from Kalailoa Harbor up to H1, and then the cargo moves along our freight network, our interstate highways, basically to reach their final destinations. So 2 things about this project. Without the federal grant funding, it would be Kapolei Development and James Campbell Company that would be responsible for paying for it. But with the federal grant, they'll be able to expedite that part of the project. And what that means for us at Kalailoa Barbers Point Harbor is it's incredibly space constrained right now. And there's a lot of opportunity to redevelop that harbor and just make it a much more efficient operation for the movement of the cargoes that are delivered to that port. However, we're utility constrained. We can't expand beyond the footprint that we have now because there's limited electricity, water, and sewer connectivity into our property there. And once this roadway is constructed, we will have a means to increase the utility capacity. So I'd like for the board to think of it as a 2-part project related to the port. It's one, getting the grant funding for that roadway and that new entrance into the port. And then once that's done, we will do a second phase of the project where we increase the utility capacity and we can do a little more development at that harbor just to make sure cargo can get off the ships very quickly and then get discharged out of the port gates and onto their final destination. So I'm coming to the board this evening to ask for a letter of support that we would include in our grant application that is due on February 28th. And again, our request to the U.S. Department of Transportation is for $20 million to build that new harbor access road. And that would be matched by private funds provided by Campbell Estate in the amount of about $4 million. So it'd be 80% federally funded, 20% locally or private match funded. But it's a game changer for our port at Kailua. And for further context, as many of you know, we need to import most of what we consume here in state. We estimate that 85% of all the goods we consume here, that's food, that's fuel, basically anything we can't produce locally, right? We've got to bring it in. And of that amount that we have to bring in, 91% of those goods touch our harbors. So the harbors really are a lifeline for our state's economy. And this project is one that really will bolster our operations at not just at Kailua, but for both our harbors on Oahu, and that's Honolulu Harbor, and then of course Kailua. So that is our request, and happy to answer any questions.
Mahalo, Deputy Director, for the presentation. Are there any questions from fellow board members? Chair recognizes Board Member Munkale.
Thank you for your report. What percentage of the commerce was going to be brought in at this harbor compared to the one on Dock 38 or whatever it is?
Sure. So at Kailua, we don't have any gantry cranes, so we don't move a whole lot of container cargo. Most of the cargo that comes into Kailua is fuel. A lot of the fuel barges will come in and discharge fuel, or cement barge, as well as other bulk materials, so lumber and other generally construction materials. And then we do have a single tug and barge operation that transports cargo from the West Coast into Kailua. So if I had to estimate between like the activity between Kailua and Honolulu Harbor, I would say about 80% go to Honolulu Harbor, and maybe 80, 85, and then 15 to 20% would go to Kailua.
Chair recognizes Vice Chair Dr. Keone Dudley.
Are there any plans to build I don't know what you call it, but the machinery that takes stuff on and off ships, so that during the time of a hurricane, they're expecting that the port's going to be closed for an entire month. And I'm just wondering if there's any kind of backup that this Kailua could possibly be.
Yes. So port resilience is a critically important concern for the Hawaii Department of Transportation. And we're working with HAIMA as the Hawaii Emergency Management Agency, as well as other stakeholders, just to make sure that Honolulu Harbor will not be, shut down and inoperable for any extended period of time after any kind of event, whether that's a storm or tsunami or, anything that might affect our harbor's operations. That said, there has been a lot of discussion about an alternate port. Some are directing us to look at Pearl Harbor, others looking at Kailua. All those options have some feasibility issues that we're trying to address and work through, just to make sure that we can continue to bring in cargo should there be any disruption of any kind. Now, with regard to Kailua, the biggest issue for us to expand has been this lack of utility capacity. So we can't really do much outside the footprint that we already have at that port until we overcome that. So this opportunity with the roadway that Campbell Estate is building is a huge game changer for us for what the potential of Kailua Barbers Point Harbor is. So once I would say the pieces are in place for us to, one, get that harbor access road and then expand the capacity, we're going to revisit our master plan that was done several years ago to figure out what the projected needs at Kailua are to, one, make sure that whatever cargo lands there can be moved as efficiently and quickly as possible, but also to make sure that Kalaeloa can serve as an alternate port should that need arise.
Thank you.
Any other board members have follow-up questions? Any questions from the community at large?
We have a question from Kieran Polk.
Okay, the chair recognizes community member Karen Polk.
Aloha, Dre. I apologize, I can't put my camera on, but I did drop my email in the chat, and I'd be happy to draft a letter of support on behalf of the Kapolei Chamber of Commerce for your grant. So just if you don't mind sending me the information, I'll get that to you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Awesome. Any other questions or mana'o or acknowledgements of support? Okay, hearing none, at this time, we'll open up for public testimony on item 7C, 7B, letter of support for federal grant funding request for Kalaeloa Harbor's Point Harbor. Anyone wishing to testify? Okay, seeing no one coming to the mic in person or online, we go now to discussion on the board members. Is there any discussion before the recommendation before us? Chair recommends that we support providing a letter of support for the grant funding.
Second.
It's been moved by board member Hale to support or to authorize, the drafting of a letter of support for federal grant funding request for Kalaeloa Harbor's Point Harbor, and second by board member Michaela Lindstone. Any further discussion from the board members? Hearing none, let's do a roll call vote, please.
Sure. The current motion on the table is to authorize the drafting of a letter of support for federal grant funding request for Kalaeloa Harbor's Point Harbor. Bosler? Dudley?
Yes.
Pereira?
Aye.
Kahele?
Aye.
Khan?
Aye.
Lidstone?
Aye.
Singleton? Ta'ala? Harris?
Aye.
Motion passes, Chair, with 6 ayes, no nos, and no abstentions.
Awesome, congratulations and best of luck with the grant proposal. Please let us know if we can have any other assistance in the application process.
Great. Thank you very much. I appreciate your support. Mahalo.
Olive.
Now, with that, we have not forgotten about Honolulu Fire Department. Let's check in with them to see if they've resolved the audio problems on their end. Let's call out Honolulu Fire Department. Are you still with us? And can you speak to us now?
Aloha, sir. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Awesome.
So sorry about the technical difficulties. I'm on my phone, so if you could bear with me, I lost everything. Of course, right when you called me, I lost everything, so I apologize again. Good evening. My name is Matthew Nakapuahi, and I'm a battalion chief with the Honolulu Fire Department Planning and Development Division. We appreciate you giving us some time this evening to provide a quick informational brief about our live fire scenarios and driver training program that will commence in the Campbell Industrial Park area at one of the City and County of Honolulu Department of Facility Maintenance properties on Olai Street. Also with us this evening, I have Battalion Chief Aino Watson, who's with our training center. He's the program manager of the live fire program, and also Firefighter 3 Christopher Cervantes, who assists Chief Watson. So they are also available as well. So I just wanted to provide an overview or mission of the live fire scenarios program. What this program does is it provides an avenue for Honolulu Fire Department personnel to gain a better understanding of fire behavior in varying conditions and educate them on fire investigations and fire prevention. This provides a suitable location for us to conduct the program. We also ensure applicable laws and standards are followed to conduct this program. We maintain operational standards for the program, and a part of this mission is also to inform you, the community, of major updates to this program. So just a little bit of history. Back in 2023, early 2023, we began looking for a suitable location to conduct this program, knowing the impact it could have on the community. with the smoke produced from the live fire prop. So we initially found a location on Renton Road, 911133 Renton Road. It's also a Department of Facility Maintenance property. That was eventually okay for us to move forward with, to have the program there. However, we found out later that the Department of Environmental Services would be using that property and the one adjacent to it for future expansion of their EVA facility. So that kind of changed our plans. So this sent us down the path of looking for other properties within the city, and we reached back out to DFM, and we were able to secure a portion of their property on Olai Street. So we feel this location is ideal for our operations because it will have minimal impact to the community. The ocean is located just to the south of where we're planning on putting our live fire prop, and Germain's Luau is located just to the east of it. So with the prevailing trade wind directions, any smoke produced by the prop would have minimal impact on businesses and other areas in the community. And we also have measures in place to determine whether or not the live fire training will commence or if it be postponed pending the wind direction. We've also been in contact with Germain's Luau about this program, and they'll, in the future, once we have the prop landed and set up, we'll be giving them a tour of that as well too. We currently have a memorandum of understanding between the HFD and the DFM city to use that property for 5 years. And there's no cost to the department or the city because this is another city agency we're working with. In addition to the live fire program that we'll be using there at Olai Street, we'll also be conducting driver training at the property. And in addition to all of this, we also are in the process of executing another agreement with environmental services to utilize a property on Kaomi Loop, which is a couple of blocks away. And that property will be used to stage equipment and vehicles to support our live fire program. Sorry, that was a lot of information to digest. If there are any questions, we're open to that. But that's all I have for now.
Thank you for the presentation. Chair recognizes Board Member Hale.
Thank you for your report. I'm not that smart. What is live fire? What does it, consist of? Please.
Can I defer to Chief Watson and Firefighter Cervantes on that?
Aloha board members, Battalion Chief Ino Watson with the Honolulu Fire Department. Live fire, I can understand how it might be kind of a little bit confusing. There's no gunshots or anything. Our live fire is basically us burning Class A material, which is like wooden pallets and whatnot. So there is some smoke migration that may occur whenever we have trade winds. But yeah, we're basically putting a bunch of pallets in a Matson container and providing live fire scenarios, demonstrations for education, as well as for our investigation and prevention teams to utilize the prop to continue to help us to enhance our training, as well as the delivery of services to the community.
Thank you for the explanation. So just to be clear, there's no guns involved, but you are burning things on property.
That is
Maybe some
correct.
fireworks.
Yes, Chair, that is correct.
Okay. The Chair recognizes Board Member Mikiela Lindstone.
So was this on Olai Street? Is that what? Or there's Kaomi Street, and then was it Olai Street as well? Did I hear that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So the actual prop, the prop itself will be on Olai Street. So across the street from Germain's Luau is where we'll be having our prop, the live fire prop. The property on Kaomi Loop is where we'll be staging our equipment, like the pallets, our extra vehicles and stuff like that will be at Kaomi Loop. So we're basically partnering with two different city agencies to support this program.
And I'm sure there's tons of safety measures, but how far away is that from all the fuel that's being stored, the millions of gallons of fuel that's being stored? Because that's close by, right? Olai Street and Kaomi, is it that next door?
It's got a considerable distance. Chief Ina your estimate about how far?
Is it like a block away or?
Yeah, the distance from the live fire prop to any significant fuel sources is at least a half a mile.
Awesome. Any other questions from fellow board members? Hearing none, any questions from the community at large for the live fire exercises Honolulu Fire Department is going to do to better prepare our finest for protecting us and investigating arsons? Checking out fireworks when it's not New Year's or July 4th. Okay, hearing none, you guys are off the hook. Thank you so much for the presentation and notifying us what you guys are all planning to do. Appreciate it.
Hello.
Mahalo. Have a good evening. Aloha.
Aloha. Okay. With that, now we are off to the races with state monthly reports, starting with Congressman Ed Case's office and with Uncle Ernesto Garcia.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and those who are watching online or in person at Hale. I dropped into the chat, Mr. Chairman. I'm not quite sure if you got the email that we had sent out earlier to the chairs some weeks ago, but in the chat is the first quarter report from the congressman. Very brief, actually. I'll go over it quickly with the board. He starts off with his end of the year report, which can be found on his website, case.house.gov, for the year 2023. Yeah. And then he talks about the top stories that were held in the first week of January, right after New Year's Day. And then we concluded actually those series of talk stories at Kapolei High School. And I was glad to see Vice Chair Dudley, who attended that at Kapolei High School, our talk story. And he had a chance to question the congressman himself on an issue that is of importance to the vice chair and as well as to the board. Yeah. And in December, just to go back, what had occurred in December, he did announce the winners of his Congressional App Challenge. First place went to a young woman from Dream House Charter School in Eva Beach. But the third place winner, and I dropped into the chat, chairman and board members, third place went to a couple of students with the Island Pacific Academy out at Kapolei, yeah? And they talked about the two boys that won third place in their Facebook page. So I dropped that in the chat. Other than that, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, open to any questions that you might have.
Any questions for the Congressman's office? Chair recognizes Vice Chair Dr. Keone Dudley.
Aloha, Nestor.
Vice Chair.
In the first place, it must be pretty crazy being in the Congress at the present time in the House of Representatives. We got a chance to talk to Representative Case about the hurricane situation. And I've been in touch with sending material to him since. I think right now we have pretty much everybody that is involved in any way. HIEMA, Department of Emergency Management, the people in Congress, people in the legislature. Senator Gabbard is sending a letter to Representative Case asking him to move ahead with trying to give us some funding for hurricane shelters and for refurbishing, fortifying homes. And I've got great hopes that he's going to be able to get that into the budget for 2025. I just want to let you know about these things and ask you to keep your eye on things and keep hurricanes at your forefront. We're delaying putting out the video, the 1 hour video on the hurricane threat. They're going to delay that until the beginning of April with the hopes that we can tell people about things that are actually happening in the legislature and the Congress by then. So we have a lot of good hopes. Just ask you to kind of stay with us and keep supporting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I'm glad you brought that up again because it reminded me of something that I forgot to share with members of the board. With regard to the federal fiscal year 2025 appropriation cycle, which you mentioned, Vice Chair. A couple of senior members from our Washington, D.C. staff will be briefing members of the state legislature, and I believe people from City Hall will also be there. When I get the briefing schedule, I'm not quite sure if it's open to the public. I want to make sure that, Senator Gabbard, you mentioned Senator Gabbard, yeah, and his letter, that his staff will sit in on this. This will be a point by point how to understand the federal appropriations process, yeah. And I think we begin to take in requests starting this month. And that's why that briefing is going to be held fairly soon for legislative staff, how to send in appropriations requests to members of Congress. Yeah. I also understand, Vice Chair, that the City Council right now, I think there was a hearing, I believe it was yesterday, in the Zoning Committee on Bill 65. It talked about the building code, and there was some discussion about hurricane proofing. So you may want to get in touch with the City Council Zoning Committee and see where that is. I guess it's going to go to the full council for second reading, yeah, on Bill 65, the building code. So and that way you might be wanting to offer testimony, yeah, as that bill goes through the City Council. And one last thing, Mr. Chair, I forgot to mention, in December, the Congressman also announced his Service Academy nominations. These are to the 4 service academies, West Point, Naval Academy, Air Force, and the Merchant Marine. For West Point, there was a young man from Kapolei High School, submitted his name to be for consideration by the people out at West Point. Young man's name is Mayhem Woolsey. Mayhem Woolsey. For those who follow wrestling at Kapolei High School, I believe he wrestles for the Kapolei High School wrestling team, yeah? So his name was put forth to West Point for consideration. And thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for the report. Thank you for the questions from fellow board members. Any questions or concerns from the community at large for Representative Ed Case's office? Hearing none, thank you. Continue to do the good work, and I know you're following up with Congresswoman Takuta's office on appropriate federal funding, if any, for the resiliency, particularly with fire resiliency in the Kailua lands that are in limbo, being transferred from the Navy over to the state and to the city and county. Okay, let's go to the next, which is representative from Congresswoman Jill Takuta's office. Are they on with us this evening? Okay, hearing none, we'd like to invite Uncle Gordon Pang up from Governor Josh Green's office.
Hi, good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, members, fellow West Oahu residents. I'm Gordon Pang. I'm your board's representative to the Office of the Governor. You folks had some homework for me last month, but a lot of it was rhetorical, so I wasn't quite sure how to answer them. I will tell you that so far as the request that the governor take part in the video that Vice Chair Dudley is leading, I was told that you are already speaking to Mr. Paul Reed over at the governor's office on this?
Yes, but I don't think he's very high ranking, is he? I mean, isn't he just the kind of the entrance man?
I don't know.
Okay. Right. We are in communication with a lot of people, including I did get a note back from the governor.
You did?
Yes.
Okay, well, so there's no higher ranking man than that, so.
You're right about that.
What did he say, if you don't mind?
I have a contact, a person who knows him personally, from church, from the temple, Jewish temple. And this person was able to send him a note talking about our video. And he wrote back saying that I should send my request to him at an email that he gave me. And I don't think that, according to the note, he was not aware that we need any hurricane shelters. So that was something that, of course, I put into the letter too. And we've got great hopes that in the next month or so, we're going to be able to get him to participate in the program.
Okay. Did you CC me or the
No,
chief of
I'll
staff
send
or
all
anyone
my
like
stuff
that?
to you.
Okay,
I'll send all the stuff to
okay.
you.
We'll see if maybe we can put a bug in somebody's ear about that.
Beautiful.
We'll try our best anyway. Let's see, you folks also asked that I take back to my board, the HHFDC board, the message that they need to be more aware of climate change and sustainability issues, the ones that you folks had mentioned, and I have relayed that message over to them. We have what we call a consolidated application process, where developers who seek funding from us come to us once a year. That period is from December through February, which means the rule making for each year's program happens earlier in the year. So the rules for this year's program are already piled. So I would suggest that, perhaps you folks can write a letter or something urging the board to take your concerns into consideration. But then I would also urge you to do the same with the Land Use Commission and the Plan Commission as well, and other agencies that have a say. The other thing I wanted to share with you is that, it's not that the state has not been concerned about sustainability and climate change issues. And in fact, I guess Dr. Dudley's aware that there is both a state with State Office of Climate Change, a commission, Hawaii's Climate Change Commission and Mitigation, Hawaii Climate Change Mitigation and Adaptation Commission. If you'd like, I'm not familiar with these folks, but I can certainly, see if maybe there's something you folks want me to take to them, or have them come visit you if you like, or something like that. Let me know. I know that there's also a city Office of Climate Change as well. It's just Climate Change, Sustainability, and Resiliency is the office at the city level. Let's see. So on to other matters. Tomorrow makes 6 months since the tragic fire that happened on Maui. Both the governor and Maui mayor will be giving a report, status update of where things are now and what they are doing to try to make things easier for the folks over there. I think that's about it from my end. Be happy to take anything else back for you folks that you may want to bring up. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for the report back and your winter break homework. You get an A+. Okay, board members, any questions or follow-ups for the governor's office? Community members at large, any follow-up for the governor's office? Come, please introduce yourself and say concern. Uncle Mick, can you?
My name is Steve Waring. I live in the villages of Kapolei. Been there since 1990, residents in. And at that time, the state had promised us that they would do the maintenance on the grounds until it's turned over to the city, which is now projected to be by 2030. Could you please ask HHFDC, we've asked them numerous times, please cut the grass. In some areas of the villages, it is over 6 foot tall, it's up to the fence line. So if they could kindly take a tour of the villages, all the grass is cut really, really nice. It's done by the Villages of Kapolei Association. All the tall grass and the dead trees and the weeds is all HHFDC responsibility. And what it's doing, it's lowering the value of our homes. It almost looks like a third world out there with all grass. So if you please, I've asked HHFDC, other people have asked, but we get no action. So perhaps you could take it back to them because it's very concerning.
Yeah, this is an ongoing issue. I'd be happy to talk to you about it, you know, to the side. It's my understanding that there were a few months, I guess, toward the middle and third quarter of the year where there was a pause between contracts of maintenance folks. Was it particularly bad during any particular time or?
It's been bad for a very long time. They'll come out there once in a while and cut portions of it. They never cut everything that they're responsible for. They'll just do just barely enough to get by. And if you or someone went out and take a tour of it, it's out of control, totally out of control. And there's been 2 dead palm trees on the corner of the house. That there was 6 nice palm trees there, and now there's 2. 4 have died. Place in the blood, but the grass around those palm trees are probably 3 or 4 feet high. So I won't take up any more of your time, but that's just my concern. Thank you.
Okay.
Shoot me an email. I'll give you my email.
Yeah, and please carbon copy me when you're coordinating with them so that we can be looped in, so that we can follow up with the other entities. Yeah. Okay, anything else for the governor's office from community at large? Hearing none, thank you so much for the help with resiliency and disaster preparedness and for bringing our concerns on sustainability to that board. And you raise a really good point. Maybe we should actually have the state and city agencies on sustainability come and speak with us so that we can see how we can help them from the grassroots level. Because what we're seeing, right, Uncle, is that we're seeing that there might be offices, but all of the processes and procedures in place at all of the different agencies don't actually address the concerns on the ground that's happening, that everybody sees in the current climate change action going on right now. So we know it's nobody's fault, and it's not necessarily a kuleana, but we're just here trying to see what we can do to help everybody out.
Well, these folks are supposed to be coordinating all
right?
this, right?
Yeah, we know. So we can invite them to come and see how we can help them. Okay, thank you so much for your assistance.
Thank you.
Okay. Aloha. Okay, now let's get on to the next report for the evening from, did Highways Division send someone this evening? I know the Deputy Director was with us earlier, but she's on the East Coast, so probably sleeping. Okay, let's go now to State Senator Mike Gabbard's office. It's not on.
Can you, hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, and Honorable Board and community members. I'm Nanook Denis. I'm Senator Gabbard's community liaison, and he sends his best wishes to you and your ohana and invites you to his second Listen Story community meeting of the year on Saturday, February 24th from 9 to 10 a.m. at the Kapolei High School Teachers Lounge. You can also join via Zoom. Please email sendgabbard@capital.hawaii.gov for the link to the meeting. And I'll also drop the email address in the chat. Our special guest speaker will be Chelsea Arnott, coordinator of the Hawaii Invasive Species Council. Chelsea will share info on little fire ants and coconut rhinoceros beetle infestations on the west side and statewide as well, and what people can do about it. The senator will follow with brief legislative and District 21 community updates with a time for Q&A. The legislative session is moving at warp speed as he works to meet hearing deadlines. Please call the office or email if there are any bills under his committee that you're hoping we could schedule. And I'll also drop the link to the senator's January newsletter in the chat, and bill updates will be included in the February newsletter. Again, please continue to reach out to sendgabbard@capital.hawaii.gov if the senator can help you in any way. And lastly, I'm happy to bring back any questions to the senators if you have any. Mahalo.
Mahalo for the report. Any questions from fellow board members? Any questions from the community at large? Hearing none, great job, and give our best wishes to the senator and all the fellow legislators as they continue to do good work for our state. Appreciate it.
Will do. Thank you.
Okay, now let's go to Senator Maile Shimabukuro or her representative.
Aloha, everybody. It's Patrice. I'm here
Hey,
tonight.
aloha, Patrice.
Aloha. I just shared the newsletter in the chat, but I'm here just to take any questions tonight, if anybody
Okay.
has any.
Any questions from the fellow board members? Any questions from the community at large? Okay, the only question is, how can we help celebrate Senator Shimabukuro for all of her good work all these years?
Yes, I guess I should announce that Senator Shimabukuro will be retiring after the session. So I know, but I will let you guys know when we plan to do something for the community, though. I'll
Okay,
let you
awesome.
guys posted. Okay, thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so
Good night.
Hello, Patrice.
Mahalo, Patrice. Okay, aloha. With that, now let's go to Honorable Representative Lyman Garcia for District 42, welcoming him up.
Aloha board, aloha chair, thank you. Happy New Year. I meant to say it, I think it was last week.
Yeah.
Glad to be here. We're back in session. I hope you all have a copy of our newsletter. I also brought my staff with me this evening. So my Chief of Staff, John Ravelu, Legislative Aide, Rockland, and Hunter, they're both here as well. So if you need anything during session, they're the go-to guys at the Capitol. Just a few updates. We've introduced our District 42 CIP request bill, and we've submitted $106 million for Kapolei High School. It seems big. There's a big initiative this year by the Leeward Complex, the Campbell Kapolei Complex area, to create a performing arts center at Kapolei High School, since there is none in all of West Oahu. So that would be housed at Kapolei High School if we get it approved. So that's that. We've also have submitted funds for the various homesteads, Kaupea, Kaulu o Kahai, and the Kanahili homesteads as well. There's also a list of some of the bills we've introduced this year, such as having West Oahu school resource officers. I know, talking to the principal at Kapolei High School and staff, some big concerns is security. There's been lots of fights lately, and really since COVID, there's been lots of behavioral issues on campus. There was recently a big fight that blocked Kapolei Parkway for about half an hour. It was kids from the Waipahu High School who came over to the Kapolei area and had that big fight. Families are not happy in the community as well. There were weapons brought to school, multiple guns. brought to campus. So there's lots of issues, and this would be a pilot program in the DOE for West Oahu schools. It seems like most of these problems are happening in this region out here from the Waianae Coast, Kapolei, Waipahu. And so this bill would be a pilot program to bring school resource officers under the Department of Law Enforcement into each campus. So these would be officers in regular clothes who are there to assist in the event of problems and or mass shootings as well. Also, there is a bill to create West Oahu Opportunity Zones. So currently in 2018, there is a federal law passed for opportunity zones by Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina. It was signed by then President Trump, and the governor then Ige had chosen certain zones on Oahu for opportunity zones. Halailoa and a big portion of East Kapolei is in those zones. So this bill says if you start a business or operate a business in those federally recognized opportunity zones, you have a local state tax breaks as well. So we're trying to stimulate growth in our region. There's also one which I talked to Mr. Partita from Kapolei, and we've introduced a recall, referendum, and ballot initiative. I think there's lots of residents who are not happy with their elected officials. And so this would give the citizens the right to recall representatives, senators, and even judges if we're not happy with them. So that's that. There's also a QR code on page 2 to learn how to testify on bills which are going through this session. And I'm open for any questions.
Thank you, Representative, for the report back. Any questions from fellow board members? Chair recognizes Vice Chair Dr. Keone Dudley.
I don't really have a question. I just want to say you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
You know, I think you and Representative Darius Keelan are the, you know, you're really working. You're getting a lot of things done. Really, very much for the community.
Trying to.
Very happy with you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Okay. Chair recognizes Board Member Moore.
On the same note, not often we have a team from a representative show up. Thank you. Thank you.
Any others?
I'm gonna echo that from both of them. You're a really hardworking team as well. I see you out there everywhere. You attend almost every community event, and not just community events in your district. You're out in other districts as well, because we're all a community, no matter what district you're in. And so that is really noticeable. And I see people noticing that as well. What is your bill for the Hawaiian language requirement, the 2 years?
Yes, so that one, what's the bill number for that one? They'll find it for you, but it's a bill that was submitted, and yes, there's multiple bills. I think there's one from me that's a 2-year requirement for graduation of full Hawaiian, not immersion, but language studies. So 2 full years of that, and then a Rep. Kila's bill was 2 full credits. So those 2 bills are being considered currently. They'll find out the bill number for you shortly.
Yeah, I wanna make sure that I testify on that one.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for all you do. And
HB 2540.
That's it.
HB 2,
540.
thank you very much. I'll keep watching that. Mahalo.
Awesome, thank you.
Go right ahead, Board Member Matthew Kahn.
So I say thank you. Yeah, everything you're doing at the Capitol, just really fighting for your constituents. The bills that you're passing and the bills that you're fighting against. You know, we've been following you closely, and it's a very lonely place. You know what I mean? Nobody really gets to see what you do on a daily basis, week to week, especially when you guys are, you know, voting over bills and stuff. So I just want to say thank you.
Appreciate it. It's a busy building, especially now, and being part of the minority does get lonely sometimes, but we're there for the people, and so we're going to keep fighting. Thank you.
Any questions from the community at large for Honorable Representative Diamond Garcia? Seeing none, thank you so much.
Thank you. And also, I've brought these public official directives for you all. It has a list of all the elected officials, all the government agencies, phone numbers, and emails, and they're over there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for all of the staff for being here with us.
Yeah,
Thank you. Mahalo. Now let's go to Honorable Representative Kanani Souza.
you, Chair. Aloha, everybody. Happy New Year. I just wanted to also reiterate that the legislative session is off to a very busy start. I sit on judiciary, I sit on waterland, and I also sit on corrections and veteran affairs. And so as you can imagine, because of the Maui wildfires, my committees have been swamped. Usually I'm extremely busy in judiciary. That's pretty much every single day, about three to 4 hours, depending. So very demanding schedule, but keeping up and still making sure and maintaining community communications and taking all the calls and all of the community inquiries that we've been receiving at the start of session. A lot to do with legislation, and already looking forward to even the interim as far as what can be drafted as we go forward. This year, I started the Aviation and Space Caucus. I'm the chair of the
Hey,
caucus.
it's Mr. Garcia.
Excuse
Hey.
me?
Yeah, the governor
sorry.
put out a press release.
Oops. I think somebody's talking. Okay. So I started the Aviation and Space Caucus. I'm the chair of that. Basically, the space economy is slated to be $1 trillion industry by 2040, and we hope that Hawaii will have a role in this industry, whether it's building the workforce or just trying to figure out where Hawaii fits into the big picture. Other states are already slated to have spaceports and all of these different cool things. So we're hoping that Hawaii will have some sort of role and that will work quickly to find our place within the space economy. So that's really cool. I'm the chair of the caucus, and it's really nice to be the only Republican that has any sort of chairmanship at the Capitol, because obviously we don't have those types of leadership positions generally. So it's nice to have started this. And I have 10 Democrat colleagues of mine who joined on to the cause. I have 3 senators and 7 Democratic representatives also joining. So it's going to be really cool to see what we do this session. We have some meetings slated. We have different things going on. So I will keep you guys posted on what our plans are as we go forward. The other thing is, last year I introduced the Makakilo Drive extension bill, which basically would take it away from the city and put it over to the state. And that had some opposition, obviously, from some people at the ledge. The transportation chair decided not to hear the bill, but this year I introduced a separate bill that basically pertains to creating an emergency egress route out of Makakilo. And we're hoping to get some traction on this bill, whether it's just identifying an emergency egress route or creating one in the meantime. Has nothing to do with the Makakilo Drive extension, but it'll draw attention to why the Makakilo Drive extension is so important. So we'll see if that gets a hearing. I'm pushing for it, and we'll see how that goes. The other thing is that I had one of my personal introduction bills heard today, which had to do with the death care industry and creating a regulatory board. We have a lot of constituents who have spoken to me about sensitive times when their loved one dies and they're experiencing contractual issues with mortuaries and funeral homes and cemeteries, and basically being taken advantage of in a lot of ways. And it's a very vulnerable time. So it's emotionally draining, and they have to deal with contract issues. So I put together a bill that would create a death care industry regulatory board. Our death care industry here in Hawaii is very lax regulations. It's not regulated very highly. So this will be a very good bill as far as consumer protection goes. It was heard today in the Health Committee, and the chair, Della Abulati, deferred the bill, but it's so that we can basically go back to the table, fix the bill, and come back next session with a stronger bill that incorporates a lot of the suggestions that were given today. So again, I'm really glad the bill was heard. You know, a lot of times, especially as minority members, we don't get our bills heard. So I'm really glad that that bill got heard, and we have several more slated to be heard this session. Also, CIP bill. I also submitted a CIP bill with the request from Principal Shinkawa. So we have all of those asks in there. Also still working on speed bumps in Makakilo at the schools. It's a crazy process, and you think it would be really easy to incorporate speed bumps, but we're still going with that. So stay tuned for that as well. Hopefully we'll make some progress. But I think that's about it. Lots going on, and we'll keep you guys posted. Also, you can go to my website, repsouza.com, for more information about bills and everything that's going on this session. Thank you.
Mahalo, Honorable Representative Kalani Souza, for your report back. Any questions from the community, from the board? Chair recognizes Board Member Mick Ferrer.
Hi, Kanani. Thank you for all your hard work.
Mick, thank you.
That bill with the emergency egress, is that the one that is addressing the Pacific Palisades area? Because I know there's one pending there that I wrote testimony.
Yes, you know, I believe some other reps, you know, obviously have the same concern when it came to similar areas that, you know, basically you're stuck if the roadway closes. But no, this is a separate bill, and this bill is specific to Makakilo. And I think the title even incorporates Makakilo. So we're just trying to bring attention to this. This is the #1 issue in our district, as you know, Mick, because you've been working on it for so long. And thank you to you and Frank Genadio and just everybody who's been on that thread. Mike also for sending me all the emails that you guys have been corresponding about. But you know, it's the most important issue. And as far as wildfire prevention and mitigation, so all of our reps out here need to be working on this issue. And so I can't be the only one doing it. You know, I think we gotta really collaborate. I have to, you know, collaborate with Senator Gabbard's office and Andrew Tupola's office, and we gotta all push for it. But it just seems like everyone just kind of dismissed it as a lost cause, and I can understand why. But it's so important. Our residents were promised this, you know, decades ago, and we got to keep pushing. So thank you, Mick. But yeah, the bill's about Makakilo.
Yeah, we start to feel like Sisyphus after a while pushing the giant stone up the hill, you know? And is it available that we can write testimony for that bill yet, or is it?
Absolutely. So I will find out hopefully when it's set for a hearing. But in the meantime, I'll go ahead and send you guys the bill. I have the email thread of everyone who's on that Makakilo Drive extension thing, and I will send you guys the PDF tomorrow.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Any other questions from fellow board members? Any questions or concerns from the community at large? Hearing none, thank you again, Honorable Representative, for your continued work. And to all of our legislative representatives at this time, if there's any bills moving forward that you think our neighborhood board should be weighing in on, please forward that to me so that we can put it onto our agenda so we can actually take them up. We'd appreciate it because we want to support and show our support as well. Okay. Now let's go to Representative Darius Kila, or his representative if he's not available. Okay. Seeing none, let's go now to HCDA representative for the Hawaii Community Development Authority. It's Francine Murray with us this evening. Hearing none, let's just go back. Any other state monthly reporters at this time? Okay. We're on a roll, making good time, everyone. So now we're on community and board concerns and announcements. Fellow board members, any concerns or announcements for the community? And Chair recognizes Board Member Michaela Lindstone.
I just want to say mahalo to the board. It's great to see everyone. It's great to see so many of us here. Thank you for the encouragement of Keone to all of us to be here. It's just great to see all of you. Mahalo.
You too.
Okay. Hearing no announcements or concerns from the board, any announcements or concerns from the community at large? Okay. We'll start here in Kapoleiha first, and then we'll go online afterwards. So, please join join us here at the table if you please. Yeah.
Aloha, Steve.
Aloha, welcome.
Hi, aloha. I was on this board back in the 90s with Dr. Dudley. I was surprised. I ran into him the other day and I said, you're not still on the board, are you? And he says, oh, yeah. Wow. I don't know if it's a city or a state issue, but on Kama'aha Avenue and Fort Barrett Road, going toward Makakilo, for the last 6 months, they've been doing construction on the right-hand side of the road. Does anybody know what they're doing? Why is that? What are they doing? And is that, I don't know if it's a state road or a city road. I don't know that.
You want to answer, Uncle? Sure.
Tony, you can come up to the mic just so that people online can hear as well.
Yeah, sure. It's a state roadway owned by the Department of Transportation, and they're widening it to make traffic that much better over there. So it's creating additional roadway space.
Well, they have a white solid line. When are they gonna open? Okay, wait a second. They have a white solid line all the way. And when I was taking the driver's test, when I first moved over here, you don't cross solid white lines. And it's not even wide enough for a car, and it's very close to the new walking path that they built maybe a year and a half ago. And I'd like to know, how much did that cost? And when are they going to be done?
We're gonna have to ask the state that. But they are trying to widen it to.
Oh, you're not the state?
No, I'm not.
Oh, you're the city? Oh.
No, not the city either.
No. Community member, okay. It just baffles my mind.
It baffles me too. I was wondering, because yes, I drive there all the time because I go to Pu'uokapolei every day. And it baffles me every day too, because there's no signage.
Nothing.
It's like, what are you doing?
Nothing.
And yeah, it's like they built something and then they left it, right? They kind of left it. It's, yeah.
It just baffles me. They can spend millions of dollars doing that, but they can't cut the grass. And they can't take the tax off of food. Anyway, that's all I had. I just wanted to know what that road was.
You were gonna talk about the Veterans Place. The new Veterans.
Oh, the Veterans Care Home. Yeah. It was supposed to be done in April of 23. Then it was postponed until October of 23. Then it was postponed until January of 23. And now it's postponed until late spring. First occupants, hopefully by October, November of 25.
Right.
Yeah. The other one, just for everybody's information, is I'm a veteran. So the veterans' new medical clinic that's right there by Costco, they are done with construction, and the first patients will be able to go there, from my understanding, April 4th. It's going to open up. So that'll prevent people, I mean, so I won't have to go to Queens West anymore. I can go right here.
Nice.
So it's a beautiful facility. Oh, my goodness. So anyway, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Chair recognizes the vice chair. Yes.
When we met the other day, you said that the new veterans home has 120 beds, I think,
Correct.
and that they had agreed that they would be paying the fees for the community there. And that they have now decided that they're not going to pay the fees. And you were going to come before the board and to talk about that a little bit and let us know what's really going on. I'm not sure I'm very clear here, but could you tell us more about that?
HHFDC gave the care center, the care home, a lease for 100 years or 99 years. And when I was on the board of directors for the villages of Kapolei, I talked to a Colonel Hahn, who at that time was running the VA. He has since passed away, unfortunately. And now it's been, I don't have my notes, but anyway, the outfit that's running it is a nonprofit company that's in charge of that care home that has 120 beds. Now, we were promised by the VA 2 years ago and other people that 120 beds were going to pay. And I was the president at the time, and I was on the Treasury Committee, but or the finance committee. And we had a couple of meetings and they said, we finally came to a conclusion that, okay, you don't want to pay the full, what the residents pay, but they were gonna pay $32, I believe it was. But now, since this other agency has taken over, they've been in discussions with the villages of Kapolei, general manager, and I believe the board president. I'm no longer on the board. But this entity that is going to be running it or responsible for it will not talk about, they didn't say they won't do it, but at this particular point in time, they're too busy with finishing up construction and getting all the equipment in there and all this and that. So they said they might talk about it later on down the road. But what concerns me is back in the late 80s, we were promised that that northwest corner would be taken up by either businesses or condos or something to help bring in revenue to the villages Kapolei Association, so we could keep our dues, you know, as low as possible.
Right.
And now they've got this big facility over there that really doesn't want to pay anything. And that's 120 beds in that place. And it's going to start off really slow, and it's going to take a couple of years to get it totally filled up, from what I understand. But it's disappointing that at first they said they paid, then they said they didn't want to pay. Now they said, well, we don't say we don't want to pay, we're just too busy right now to discuss it. So that was that, Keone.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for bringing up the concerns.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. So we'll follow up with the various entities on what's going on with the state widening of road project, and is it complete?
Where they went.
And the second is we'll follow up with the issue on what is the current understanding of the fees that will be perchance given from the nonprofit organization on behalf of the veterans that will be staying at the veterans homes to VOCA, the Villages of Kapolei Association. So what is the current understanding?
Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Any other questions? Yes, Chair recognizes Vice Chair, Dr. Killian Dudley.
I just want to say that I think this is something that is a real concern to us. I think that piece of property, you know, my recollection is that there was supposed to be special things on that property. My recollection is they came to the board and asked if they could put that there because it was not qualified to be there. And I just think that they owe it to the community and to the people who live in that area and that pay their dues to be a part of it. You know, I don't know how much the Veterans Administration is involved in it, but what I do know is that 20% of our state property is held by the military, and they don't pay a dime in rent. And I think that this facility should be paying what they said they were going to pay. And I would like to see the board follow up on this.
Yes, go right ahead.
Sorry, Steve, I just want to make sure I caught your last name, Warner.
My last name?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Loring.
Thank you.
Okay. Excellent. Any other comments on this concern? Hearing none, let's go to the next presentation. Well, we will go online, alternate.
Lynn Kaeo Iliava.
Okay, Chair recognizes community member Iliava.
Hi, good evening, board. This is kind of my first time, and I didn't realize how long you guys run these board meetings. So I just kind of have a concern for the community. I live in Makakilo. I'm a resident of Makakilo area. The concern I have is more or less on focusing on Panana Street in Makakilo. I did write a letter to Ed Case as well as Andre Topola about the concern. I just want to cover it real quick. I also have pictures too, so I don't know if I can share my screen, if it helps, but I do have like 4 pictures that I just recently took of the incident or problem that I have.
Sure. You can share your
real quick.
screen and you can send it over to us and we'll get it into our community cloud drive. Yeah.
Let me see if I can share my screen.
Yep.
I am technical savvy, so it shouldn't be that much of a problem. All right, you guys see the pictures?
Not yet.
Oh crap, maybe I'm not technical savvy.
It's okay. Everybody's been having technical difficulties this first quarter. Okay, now we see something. Yeah.
Okay, you see like a hand or something in there?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I'll just move on. So I live I live on Makakilo. I'm on Panana Street. So there's a cross street on Makakilo, Panana, and Velo Street. The problem we have is that somebody in the community has been throwing screws in the road. So I'm not exactly sure of who or how many people are doing it, but this is an ongoing problem that has happened from like 2001. I just recently pulled a picture from 2001 of the problem, or like something I just recently discovered too. So we have Maukalani Elementary in the area, and lately we've been getting every month we've been getting kind of a flat tire or something. So I'm not the only one in the community that's getting it, but every month my wife's been getting a flat tire. We have to take our tire in, so it's getting a monetary cost of me replacing the tire, taking the time to go and fix this problem. So I don't know who is doing it, but I kind of want some kind of criminal action for this person, or I want to know who it is so I can take this person to court, because there's a lot of money that I'm losing for this person that is doing a deliberate act. I only say it's deliberate because it seems kind of malicious in a way that this person would drop a bunch of screws in the middle of a crosswalk by Maukalani Elementary. And this is just from this Saturday that I picked it up. And now these are like brand new screws, so it's not something that's furnished or falling out of a drywall or something. It's an ongoing issue. I talked to the local community. There's a lot of people about it. It's a known problem. I also talked to the president of our board, and then they had some kind of action in place of the person that's doing it. But again, they can't disclose the information to me. It's just something that is just it's annoying, and I don't know what to do as far as it comes. So I'm bringing it up to the board. I want to start here, and I want to start pushing it forward to make sure I can bring the awareness of something that needs to happen. This needs to stop. I don't know who's doing it. I don't know why they're doing it, but it's an ongoing issue, and I'm sick and tired of it. I've made police reports, so I guess HPD is not on here right now, but I'm going to constantly make police reports. And it's unfortunate because every time I get a flat tire, it's either the flat tire is going to be at my resident, or it's going to be at my wife in a community area where she's doing another event. So it's happened a couple of times where we have to go and change the flat tire or spare in a community where it's kind of kind of sketchy, and not that I want her in that area, but it's affecting us personally. It's affecting me mentally, and it's also costing me a lot of money. And these things, it's piling up. So I'm open for the board and discussion of what I can do in my part, what I need to do. What I don't want to do is waste my time going and picking up these screws every freaking weekend, because this is a problem, and it's a reoccurring event, and it's for us, it's affecting us every month. But I've talked to neighborhoods that have gotten their tires changed out every month to every 2 weeks. I've already had 3 nails in one tire, which means I got to go buy another tire because I've just replaced it in September. So I yield back my time, open for discussion, questions, comments, or concerns. I'm also going to stop sharing.
Okay. Thank you very much for raising the concern. We do hear you and we understand your frustration, and we'll do our best to see what we can do to Kokua to assist. Chair recognizes Vice Chair Keone Dudley.
I'd like to recommend going to the elementary school and talking with the principal and trying to get him or her to get the students to tattle on whoever is doing that. You know, this with all the kids that are in that school, and it being so close to where those screws are being laid in the road, surely somebody sees what's going on. And whether it's somebody in the elementary school, kid in intermediate school or high school, an adult, there's some little kid in that school who would be willing to tell, because they know what's good to do and what's bad to do, and they know that that's naughty. And I really think that you would be very smart to go and talk to the principal, try to get her or him to do to get the kids to talk.
So the side story about that is we have a relation with one of our principals that my daughter goes to school with. He has talked to the principal in that area, and it's an aware problem. They know about the issue. They have parents that complain to them about flat tires. They have their staff that have to go to work constantly getting flat tires. So it's everyone is aware about it. This is the weird thing is because so much people are affected by it, but nothing's being done. So like if I had the power to solicit information or even subpoena these companies like Costco, Goodyear, JA Tire, you could get a lot of information from those guys, and then they will constantly tell you when these people are laying the screws on it, they get 8 to 10 people a day, and it's just ridiculous. Like what does it cause? This guy or people again, I don't know who it is. There's a problem. He's been doing this for so long, and it feels like that there's nothing to be done, and he's going to escalate the problem. Because from what I'm hearing from my board and association, is this person had some kind of relation that ended bad, and now there's an issue going on with some kind of marriage thing. I don't want that to escalate, and I don't want domestic violence in my neighborhood. So I'm actually soliciting all my neighbors. I talk to all my neighbors. I talk to my board. I tell everybody to make a police report. It doesn't exist if it doesn't exist in writing. So go make a police report. If they want, I can give them all my letters. I will write the police report for them. I just need witnesses. I need testimony. I need people to stand up and say, hey, look, this is enough. We need to find this person. And the problem is, we don't know when he's doing it. So he could be doing it at night or he could be doing it at daytime. I've also talked to the community as well. It's well known because I stopped traffic on Saturday to pick up a bunch of screws that I just had on the screen. But there was a kid or someone get hurt from it. If you step on a screw like this, it could be bad. I don't want our kids to get hurt. But at the same time, it's in our community and it's affecting all of us.
Chair recognizes Board Member Michaela Lindstone.
I've heard about this problem. I don't know. I don't know a solution. I mean, I wish HPD was here to give some suggestions. But one suggestion I have is maybe to contact Jody Akau, and maybe if I could get your email, or if you could get I don't know how to get your email. If maybe you could put it in. I'm not on the WebEx, but if there's some way. I could forward your information to Jody Akau. She's with the Kanehili Neighborhood Watch. I know when I've had issues, I brought it to her watch, and they've put it on their radar, and then they've patrolled areas where I've had issues at, and she mobilized her team. And so if she's able to, she'll mobilize her team and have them kind of surveil, because they go out at like 2 in.the morning, 4 in.the morning. But she does the neighborhood watch, so she can put you on her radar, and she can kind of surveil that area with her team. But that's one suggestion I may have. If you know the Kanehili, oh, I got your email. So what I'll do is, if you don't mind, I'm gonna share it with I'm gonna share your email with the Kanehili Neighborhood Watch. I'll let her know your situation. They're really great because they're all about community and getting
I've heard of
the bad guys.
Yeah, I've heard of the community. I know they're policing up the neighborhood, which is great. But I mean, at night it's kind of hard to see screws in the middle of the road, especially if these guys throwing black screws. Like I drive at the edge of my steering wheel on Panana Street looking for screws. Day or night, it's just you can't see this stuff unless you're walking it.
No, but they walk, they ride the bus, they ride bikes, they ride skateboards. I mean, they're not in their cars. They're actually patrolling on foot in the buses. Yeah.
I like to make contact, and I also like to bring this aware to my board so that we could get more community members involved. And like I said, I really do want this person prosecuted, and not only prosecuted, I want it criminally charged, and I want a civil suit. He's costing me over $1,000, $3,000, time and money and tire repairs. This is ridiculous. It should. If it's costing me $3,000, I guarantee the community's having the same problems.
Okay, going to Logan first and then Nick after.
Yeah, hi Glenn. Sorry, I'm not super familiar with the area. I know you said out front of MakakiloKapoleiHonokai Elementary School, and I also heard Punana Street. Is there any other specific areas that you could, just so I can take down?
He's narrowed it down to this Panana Street and Velo Street. Panana Street is the main road right above the fire station in Makakilo, where Maukalani is kind of adjacent, and there's the park area as well. And then Velo Street is that cross street that comes down from the park area. And it's gonna be primarily, this is where I find all the screws, is on those two streets in that little area, right in front of the school, city, and the city county park area.
Okay, Panana Street and Fellow Street. Thank you.
Velo is, yeah,
W-E-L.
sorry, WELO, sorry.
Go to Board Member Mick for
Well, another thing too is that there's quite a number of dog walkers in that area, and they might not be aware of it. And if some flyers are posted, making people aware and to keep their eye out, if they see anything suspicious or, and then also plus too, the types of screws that it looks like are being thrown out there. We had a problem with that one time where they were doing a bunch of rallies where they're throwing screws out on the ground in front of Queens West, and they were drywall screws. And so you kind of know what trade the people are in. They're using materials from work, obviously, and throwing them out there. They're not going and buying them, I don't think. So if the people in that neighborhood are aware that something like that's going on and that there's other people that are getting tire damage, it'll kind of maybe put the people together with each other, and we can kind of start somewhat of a neighborhood task force to kind of find out who it is, because there's two things. There's somebody that lives up there. I don't know what their axe is that they have to grind, and they're throwing screws out there. That's probably something that they have from work. So, if some flyers were put up the way people put up flyers for lost pets and things like that, somebody might know something. And, I don't know if a reward needs to be posted or whatnot, but there's got to be something done because this is expensive. And I commute by motorcycle and I get screws in my tires all the time. I'm replacing tires every 3 months, just riding from Makakilo to the Capitol every day. So I understand, and, this isn't something that should be found on a roadway. So thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, Chair recognizes Vice Chair Dr. Kilney Dudley.
I just want to come back to what I was saying. You say that you have talked to principals, but I'm saying the principal at Malkalani Elementary is the one to talk to, and that the kids will know who's doing that. It doesn't sound like an adult thing to me unless the guy is nuts. Sounds to me more like a junior high school thing. So that's my recommendation.
I'm not gonna lie, I got some information on for it. It's not kids. It's just someone that's deliberately doing it, and then there's some kind of like I believe there's a TRO on him, and there's some kind of protection against him for the person that's committing this, or at least one person in mind.
Okay, go right ahead, Board Member Matthew Khan.
Is there any homes near that area you're finding the screws at? Where you could talk to a neighbor about setting up an Arlo camera? Something like that. You know, you say it didn't happen if it's not in writing.
Right.
Well, it didn't happen if it's not in camera too.
There's a bunch of townhomes and community houses around the area. I think someone at one time caught some of the information, but it's kind of hard to say. If you're gonna have a camera on the public roadway, it'd be hard to prosecute somebody for something that you might not have, I guess, jurisdiction over.
Wilderness cam or something.
We had that too in our association. So again, the problem stemmed from like 2021 where I brought it up to our board, and it's a private driveway in Makakilo Cliffs area. And he started throwing the screws in the middle of the road. Again, I picked them all up. We had a camera because we could do it on the property. It's private property, private road. We got nowhere with it. So I'm kind of losing my patience. And then again, I want to bring it to you guys and then start here and then move it up as far as I can.
Gotcha. We appreciate you bringing the concern to us. It seems like the community has an idea of who it might be, and that this action has been longstanding. Do recommend that you document as much as possible, get witnesses, affidavits. If you can't handle it as a neighbor, you could definitely consider going to small claims court with the documentation that you have, because the judge has the definite jurisdiction over whether or not someone's negligent in causing property damage in specific. So like, and if this is multiple people off of screws of stuff like that, and you can make a case, the judge will be able to do something for you as small claims. But again, documentation, cameras,
Agreed.
affidavits.
I have police reports. I already have like 3 police reports on file. I have 2 this past week. I intend to make more if we still are affected by this. And I do weekend patrols, unfortunately. I'm a dog walker, so part of my job is walking my dog and picking up screws.
Well, thank you for your diligence, and on behalf of the community members that aren't getting flat tires because of your work, we thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you, board. Thank you for having me.
Just one last thing, Glenn. If you didn't see, I dropped my email and the chair's email in the chat. If you could just forward those images to us, I'll include those in the report that I submit to HPD.
I'm monitoring. I got it. I'll send it now.
Yeah, no rush. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, and let's go to Uncle Tony Gaston. Come on down.
Well, good evening, everybody. Happy New Year. I haven't seen you in a long time.
Happy New Year.
I apologize. I had some mix-up, so I haven't been here since October. I realized that. It's been so long, but gosh, well, good evening, everybody. I'm Tony Gaston from the Hunt Companies, and you know what? It has been a long time since I've been here, and I've got a huge milestone to talk about tonight. On January 3rd, the Veterans Administration Pacific Islands Healthcare System officially assumed residency at the clinic.
Nice.
Yes, we were able to turn it over to them. So this is just a quick exterior view. Here, what I'd like to do is show you guys a video that the Veterans Administration actually did. It's going to show you the opening ceremony, the event we had at the clinic. So it's not open, it's just a transfer over to the VA team.
Nice.
A lot of people actually flew in from the mainland for this, from the VA side. They did a lot of good aerial views here. They walked around on the inside. Take a look. Doesn't it? I mean, it already looks so nice and neat in there too. Yes, they've actually started activation of the clinic. They've started mobilizing equipment and everything. So, you know, it was mentioned earlier that it's possibly going to be April of 2024. That is the plan. So if everything works out that way, yes, the clinic is going to open in April. So in order to do that, though, oops, let me see here. I want to go to the next slide. Because in order to make sure that we can open this clinic, hold on, let me just get to the next.
Seems like you got built pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, you know what, it went very well. Okay, what I'll just do is show you this one here, because, okay. Okay, because in order to get to the clinic, of course, you gotta have the roadways to get there. Now, the perimeter roads are still being worked on, but what we did is install this interior road. I just highlighted it, that red one, because it's an access road that will lead into the VA parking lot. Now, in order to get to that access road, we also are going to open up this portion of Kamakila. So, and then we'll block off the rest until we can finish everything else. But we just expedited this area just to make sure that come April, people can use this VA clinic without any obstructions.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's just a quick update I wanted to give you guys. Do you have any questions?
Chair recognizes.
Sure, okay, well.
Just fast question.
Yes.
I noticed Franklin D. Roosevelt, but I think they changed it to just Roosevelt, right? Because the street signs just say Roosevelt now.
Yes, but it's officially still named Franklin D.
Oh, it is?
Roosevelt.
Okay.
Yes,
Then though the street are, it's just Roosevelt.
right.
Okay.
Okay. Chair recognizes board member Moon, and then afterwards vice chair.
I got a question. Can you arrange for somebody in a VA, like a liaison officer or whatever,
Yes,
to show up here so they can fill us in on what services is gonna be done in that particular clinic
okay.
compared to the one across from Walmart?
You know what? I did talk with somebody. This is her right here. She said that she can be contacted.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
And then if needed, she could actually come here too, but she just, if you guys would like to, you guys can contact Amy.
Okay.
And that's all her contact information right there.
You know, to present to the board as a
Mhm.
whole.
Sure.
To the community,
I hear you.
what's gonna be serviced at that particular, venue.
Yes, because in a way, Hunt, we did our obligation of building it and turning it over to them. So
Right.
there's not much more we can do now. I mean, we're doing punch list items, cleaning up little Manini stuff at the clinic, but it's been turned over to the Veterans Administration.
Nice.
And how it's different. That's great because people keep asking how it's different from the other one.
Right.
That's good, Moon. Yeah, it's a good.
Okay, Chair recognizes Vice Chair Dr. Kilney Dudley.
Franklin Delano Roosevelt Boulevard, is it complete now and got divided and 4 lanes? or-
Okay, so the 4 lanes, I want to say 98% of the work is completed. There's still a little bit more that needs to be done. Some roadway striping and some remedial repairs on the paved drain system. That's it. Once all that is completed, then all 4 lanes will be open. And we're still waiting for Copahay to finish that work too. That's the roadway adjacent to the school.
Right.
Because actually, I haven't been here so long. I gotta tell you guys something. Oh my gosh. I was able to finally participate in a meeting with the United States DOE. And I represented the Hawaii team, the state DOE team also, and convinced US DOE, look, we're building a new road. It's going to be safer for the kids over there. We're putting in a sidewalk, everything. US DOE had absolutely no objections. Okay, you guys just work it out.
Congratulations.
Exactly. So what ended up happening now, I am just going through the paperwork process with the state DOE. I hope to get everything resolved this month because come March, the construction crew can go back out there and finish up the remaining work. And we're hoping we can get Copahay completed in about July of this year, which means once that's done, then all the rest of the roads can be opened. Yes.
Okay, go right ahead, Vice Chair.
Before they started work here, and a couple of years before that, that was a beautiful road of trees on one side. And I used to love to go down the park and just walk for 3 or 4 blocks under the trees. They started at the elementary school and went all the way down to the Costco area.
Yes.
Is there any hope of bringing those trees back?
Okay, so we did get a certified arborist come, and because we were going to do construction, was there a way to somehow keep those trees? And he said those trees, although you can't tell by the appearance when you're driving by, he said they're not in good shape at all.
I know that.
Yeah, so it would be too hard to try and keep them.
Well, I'm talking about replace them with the same kind.
We can't, okay, we didn't plant the same kind. We planted over 150 new trees, by the way, on all the roads. They're not the same type because of the drainage system that was installed. If the leaves come down, it's going to clog the drainage system. So we planted a different type of tree that doesn't have too much debris that falls down. Yes.
Yeah, the previous tree was Chinese banyan that lined.
Mhm.
Now it's a different kind of.
Yes, it's a different type.
Non-native tree. I wish it was a native tree, but it's not. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions from board members? Chair recognizes Board Member McFerrin.
Yeah, is there going to be, well, in asking you, I should probably be asking Amy, is there going to be any kind of a formal grand opening that we might get invited to, or any of the veteran service organizations?
My awareness right now, there is going to be a formal grand opening of the clinic once service begins. Who gets invited? I don't know for sure, but Honestly, I've already told them that this neighborhood board should be invited.
So I'll get in touch with
Amy Rose.
Amy Roll.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's okay, this is gonna serve well-deserving community members, so that's just great,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Once this clinic opens, it's gonna make it so much easier for the veterans to go to this clinic instead of Tripler. This is gonna be so much better for them, yes.
Awesome. Any questions from the community at large? Hearing none, thank you so much for the good work and on the successful handover.
Thank you very much.
Mahalo, Tony.
Mahalo. Any other community or concerns or announcements? Hearing none, let's move on to board business and starting off with 7A for the approval of the written summaries for video record. Is there a motion for the October 25th and December 6th video records?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second? It's been moved by Secretary Michaela Lindstone, second by Board Member Hale. Any discussion? Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I would just recommend a friendly amendment. It was pointed out to me by member Thad Sprague. I'm sure he would bring it up. If not, I mixed up the dates. I don't know how far back it's gone, but all the minutes say Thursday instead of Wednesday. So I would just recommend at the top of the document a change from Thursdays to Wednesdays on both of the ones on the agenda.
Okay, recognizing the date change in the motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, chair calls it unanimous. Okay. Recognizing the adoption of the minutes and the change in the minutes from Wednesday to Thursday or Thursday to Wednesday as appropriate. Now moving on, we already did B earlier, so we go to committee reports, starting with the Transportation Committee.
Yep, so as you all know, I'm work the DLNR Land Division. Legislature's back in session. We're burning the midnight oil, writing testimony on various bills that affect the DLNR. What I am doing though is I am keeping an eye on anything that might affect us as a community. And even though I'm the Transportation Committee Chair, I want to be able to bring a report back on any progress that's going on, anything that affects our community. Right now, the first readings usually pass. So I'm waiting to see, once they start going into committee hearings, what happens. I'm going to compile a list of things that we might be interested in and let you know kind of the status of what's going on. There's a couple of them right now, as far as transportation is concerned. The state wants more money to start charging us more on the state side for registration for our cars, even though the city and county are getting us at a sky high rate. I'm not sure if that one's really going to go through, but just some of the ones I kind of gleaned in glancing over. And then, of course, there's another bill for loud exhausts to kind of reel those in. They're looking for people who rent out scooters to collect and make available to law enforcement the names of people who rent scooters for 2 years, which I kind of thought was an invasion of privacy. I've written testimony myself for it. But those are kind of a couple of them. The bills that are still alive, the dead red where pull up to an intersection and the light doesn't change because it can't detect you. They have that especially for motorcycles, but they're trying to amend it where it may include cars. They're saying that with the new systems that they're putting in to detect traffic, that law won't be needed. And then also there's the one that survived last session for being able to drive on the shoulder on H1, H2, H3, and H201 for like when there's really heavy traffic or if there's an accident. Motorcycles are getting rear-ended and things like that, and there's an open way. You can't do more than 25 miles an hour on it, and you have to rejoin traffic. But that's it's still kicking along. But I'm gonna get together a list of some of the ones that I kind of saw that I thought would be germane to us and be able to present. And there's instructions on how to write testimony as well. That Diamond kind of pointed out. So I've been writing testimony from a personal standpoint. I don't, you know, and dealing on, obviously, 'cause that's what I do. But we're into it now. It's already February, and I think January 26th was the last day they could introduce any new bills. So it's just a hurry up and wait now. That's all I got.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Transportation Committee? Hearing none, let's go to Parks and Recreation Committee.
Darius Keela just sent out a memo, a letter that he just sent out to Mayor Blangiardi and Deputy of Parks, asking to enforce the park closures when the park is closed, because there's so much unlawful activity that occurs when the parks are closed. But really, I don't think enforcement can happen when there's just such a shortage of staffing at HPD and with parks. I think we just really need to be good citizens and really encourage our community to just be really good community members and just follow the rules. And I know that's tough, but it's tough because I don't think the city can really enforce it when they don't have the staff to do it. We're going to be meeting with the mayor and Director Thielen and Councilmember Tupola at Kapolei Regional Park to discuss the master plan for Kapolei Regional Park and some community concerns that have been coming up regarding that park over the years. Coconut rhinoceros beetle and LFA, little fire ants, have been a concern. Every single coconut tree at Kapolei has coconut rhinoceros beetle. And so every single coconut tree will be gone. At Kapolei, probably by the summer, and soon probably the Hala will go next. And so just we've got to plant more trees. We've got to be aware, but the invasives are really affecting our parks. That's where we're at.
Okay, thank you for the update. Chair recognizes Board Member McFerrin.
Yeah, they seem to do a really good job of clearing out Alamoana Beach Park. Really big park with a lot of access from, you know. And they say that we're short people out here, but they're a block away. They drive by there constantly to get to the police station. And I don't know why at 10 o'clock or 10:30 or whenever, they just can't get a roundup of some people and sweep the park. And if they do that enough, then they'll stop going in there as much. But I think they've probably got the time and some manpower to sweep the park when it's closed. And then after that, I guess if they kind of filter in, I'm just seeing so much of the homeless just laying on the center divide over by Safeway and just flopped out everywhere. I see shoplifters running out of Safeway and Longs and, you know, and I worry about guys like this. He's in Longs. That's where I run into him. And I'll tell you what, one of these guys is gonna come running out of there. And there's a lot of folks his age that are going in and out of there, and I fear for them. Because, you know, we seem to have a bumper crop of them. Seems like once they started busting people and processing them down here in Kapolei, people said, oh, wow, look, down in Kapolei, we don't get hassles. The next thing you know, we've got quite a population. And, you know, the community health workers at some of the insurance companies that provide Quest just did their, I guess, time and place count or something like that. And there were a lot of them. So, you know, they seem to have taken your little area as like a hiding spot up in there and just do terrible things. I've been out there when you guys have done a cleanup and helped you guys with that. And it just seems like if the pressure's put on them and get them out of that park, I mean, they got to go somewhere. But that park during the day is for our families and for the children and soccer games and your hula people and everything like that. And it's just terrible what I see getting done to that park, and they're opening up electrical things to get at it, and they're messing with the water, and that messes up the grass because then it doesn't, water right. So I'll get off my soapbox, but I think that there's probably a solution to closing the park at a particular time. They seem to be able to do a lot of stuff downtown, but we seem to get forgotten about,
I agree.
once you get past the H2, H1, we let the mayor know that when we met with him. So anyway, I feel for you.
Thank you for the comments. It would be good to, if the committee can come up with recommendations that the board can support when you meet with the mayor, particularly on our houseless community members, and if there's any plans to repopulate the parks with new trees, we should actually make the recommendations, because now we will be lacking our palms family. So we should recommend what they should replace them with and make sure that it's not something that the coconut rhinoceros beetle likes to eat.
Cactus.
Okay, any other questions for Transportation Committee? No. Hearing none, going to the Environmental Justice Committee. Dr. Dudley.
I don't really have anything to report. I kind of talked about what's happening earlier.
Right.
I do want to say though, that I'm really concerned about what's happening in the community. Hearing about all the fighting going on at the high school, all the problems going on in Waianae. It's just, you wonder what happened to Aloha. I mean, this is not the island that I came to in 1971. Things have changed so much. The way to live was the way we lived back then. And I'm just overwhelmed with the amount of ugliness everywhere. I think we need to really start pushing Aloha, and to get it into the schools, get it into everywhere we can possibly get it into. Just we've got to start loving one another again. We just do. I'm out. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dudley, for raising the concerns. You just made me reflect on what board member Michaela Lindstone said earlier about building Pilina relationships, right? So, and that's why our board supports our parade, our Prince Khalil parade, is because it got our neighbors out next to each other, being able to see each other, halo, face to face, so that they can share. Right now, we're living in an isolated world, particularly coming off of the COVID pandemic, where everybody is in their survival mode. And now, what we can do is make sure that we do our best at our board to foster those community spaces, to make sure that our parks are places where families and friends and feel safe and good to go to, that we support projects that actually contribute aloha in a way. So every development that comes in, we can ask those questions about how they're contributing to our neighborhood, because this is the second city. It's slated for development. We are going to get larger. So how do we make sure we maintain those relationships in the spaces that we have together? Like Diamond Garcia's representative had a wonderful idea about the performing arts facility. Being able to have the expressions of arts in our community. Cultural. Because when you look at it, where do we go on the west side for collective engagement in the arts? Doesn't really exist.
Rock Center.
Right. So this goes back to the ideas that Uncle Mick and Uncle Keone Dudley had about the quarry up in Makakilo in the sunsetting time, while creating a public space for an amphitheater for the community to be able to have outdoor engagements. Like it's a great idea. Because right now we're building out like we're an isolated, rugged individualists in our own little spaces, but not many community spaces outside of the shopping malls or long strugs. So it's a good idea to reflect about how we want to make sure that the spirit of aloha is fostered, not in our spaces, in our open spaces, in our development spaces as we move forward. Yes.
Maybe if there are groups that we know about, or people, spokespersons, who are really into aloha, maybe we could have them come and talk to the board. That way we could get the word out a little bit more, get more consciousness going.
I like that. We can put that on. It's like about having people come and share presentations about the amazing, wonderful things that are happening in our community and how they're spreading aloha, and we showcase, because right now the media loves to focus on things that are negative and punchy. So it'll be good to have a space where we remind ourselves about the wonderful things that are happening. Because we tend to only hear complaints at our board. Screws that's punching people's tires. Potholes that are not fixed. Grass that has not been cut since we're dying. Trees that are dying. Feral cats that are going out of control, which are important matters for our community, but that's not the only things that are happening in our community. Right? And maybe we should put a spotlight on those. So we can take that up, entertaining the fact of getting presentations about amazing things that are happening in our community and people to come and share with us matters of aloha, including the old timer stories like Dr. Keone Dudley, like our other community member that came, remembering things about that spot over there was for specific things where they put a new VA 120 unit place across from Walmart, and we allowed them to do that.
That's right.
But then now they're trying to back out the promises and commitments. So maybe we need to be reminded about what the other commitments that were put in place in our community had as we move forward. Sounds great. I think that would be a wonderful way to weave in some aloha this upcoming year.
Absolutely. And I'd like to encourage the board, if I may, Chair, now that we have our polo shirts, to go out there in our polo shirts and to go to a community event and
Ribbon cutting.
and support our community.
Right, ribbon cutting.
Thank you to the Neighborhood Board Commission, well, office for providing amazing polo shirts for all of the board members. Yeah. Okay. Now with that, we go to the final announcement, which is our next scheduled meeting will be Wednesday, February 28, 2024. So there is another meeting for February. This is the regularly scheduled meeting, as today was the rescheduled makeup meeting from January. Right. If there's no other business before us, community, Happy New Year to all. Haole makahiki aloha makahiki. And remember to think about how you can spread aloha to your neighbors this year. With that, we are adjourned.
Yesterday,